Right, now we push on to Sunday, where for the first time in a long time, there's more games on a Sunday than there is on a Saturday, and I think that was due to the fixtures from yesterday predominantly. So the first one I'm going to go with is Chelsea, who are at home to Stamford Bridge. You know, there's a lot of stuff surrounding this game, more to do with politics and money and stuff like that from both owners. You know, you've got Abramovich with the stuff that we allude to with Russia and everything, and the sanctioning, but then you've also got a team like Newcastle who arguably, well not arguably, in factual, have got the richest owner on the planet. So we could sit here all day and talk about the ownership of the clubs, but I'd rather talk about what's going on in the grass. And I'm going to first start off with Chelsea. You know, they played well in the Carabao Cup final, but lost in penalties. But then they bounced back with an emphatic victory against Burnley, and then they went and beat Norwich last night quite convincingly. For me, Chelsea, you know, there's a lot going on at that club, but I'll give credit to Tuchel and the players because they could allow it to affect their form. They've had quite a lot of things go on. They've had the sanctioning, they've had the Lukaku incident, and they just plough on and get the results. Now, you know, especially when it's difficult because they're in a very comfortable position. There's no threat of them finishing outside the top four, but there's no chance of them winning the league. So it's very easy to get complacent, but they haven't. They've kept ploughing on and winning games. You know, in all competitions, by the Carabao Cup, they've won. I think they've won 6 on the spin at home. You know, if you include the FA Cup, I think there was a victory against Chesterfield, which, you know, people will say that's a Mickey Mouse fixture, but you only can beat who you play in front of you. You know, and Chelsea are scoring quite a few goals without Lukaku picking up his form. You know, they're proving that, you know, if Lukaku wants to run up his mouth and say that, you know, kind of come across like he's bigger than Chelsea, then it's proof that if you don't pick up your form, you'll just go back to a different club and they'll move on because, in my eyes, they play better football without him there. But, you know, you're looking at this fixture here, Stamford Bridge, they're very strong, you know, they don't tend to lose many games. But this is an interesting fixture because Newcastle, for me, 6 weeks ago, I thought they were down. But, you know, since then, I think they've won 4 out of 5. They drew 1 against West Ham, I think it was, and, you know, drawing away to West Ham this season in particular is a good result, if you ask me, because as much as they've had a little bit of a dip in form, they're a very good side, West Ham. So, you know, they beat Southampton last night. They had a good victory against Brighton. You know, they've won 4 out of 5 Newcastle. Considering they were looking for relegation, they're looking at their form, thinking if they continue in this vein of form, you might find them pop up in the top 10 at the end of the season. And, you know, now they've got that, you know, step away from relegation. I think they'll just want to continue that form, and there'll be players there that will want to, you know, impress for Newcastle, because Newcastle have now become a club that if they stay in the Premier League and you're not performing, you will be replaced. It's as simple as that. You know, you've got the traditional top 6 that are a full threat from a club like Newcastle, because if they follow the same sort of procedures as Man City did back in the time where they're, you know, doing everything slowly, they'll just keep going until they've got the right players and the right managers. And it's a credit to Eddie Howe, because, you know, Eddie Howe's always been seen as a pretender. Everyone's like, okay, done well at Bournemouth, will he do well anywhere else? And he's come to Newcastle and made a lot of changes. You know, he's had a player there in Ryan Fraser who we didn't get on with at Bournemouth and managed to get a tune out of him. He's turned Joe Leaton into arguably a very, very good centre midfielder who, again, has chipped in with a couple of goals recently. And they're doing it with Callum Wilson having his injury problems. So, you know, Chris Wood's a very good buy. I thought it was a good steal. I don't think Chris Wood will be somebody that they're looking to get the goals in the next couple of years. But, you know, he scored yesterday, and I generally think that Newcastle are out of the mud. And right now, I don't think anybody wants to play Newcastle. Doesn't matter who you are, they're putting out some good performances. So, if I'm going to go on to my prediction, it's a difficult one because I don't see anything but Chelsea. You know, when Chelsea at home, you just think they're going to win. And traditionally, Chelsea tend to beat Newcastle at home anyway. You know, when it goes to St James's Park, it's a different ballgame. I think Newcastle beat them last season 1-0. So I'm thinking, as much as I want to say Chelsea are going to win, I'm going to go a little bit against the grain. I've got a feeling that Newcastle are going to score the first goal. Chelsea, again, like I say, they're comfortable. They've got the Champions League to focus on midweek as well. I think they play Lille this week. So, you know, as much as they're 2-0 up in that, they might want to rest a couple of players and Newcastle can take advantage of that. So I think, if I was going to throw my hat on it, I'd say 2-2. I think Chris Wood is either going to score the first goal to get Stamford Bridge rocking a bit, or he's going to score at any point in the game. So I think it'll be a 2-2. It'll be a good watch to kick off the afternoon. I'm not sure if it's being televised or not. I'm going to go with a 2-2 there, and you know, Chelsea won't want to draw, but at the same time they don't really need to churn up the wins because nobody below them is threatening them.